Let's talk about different types of variables. Data structures. Okay, so a lot of people say, oh, you need to know these data structures for algorithms, which is not wrong, but you actually don't need to know it just for algorithms. You should know them for several other reasons. It makes comparing things easier. And at this point in time, you're probably like, well, Caleb, what does that even mean? We're going to get into that in this lesson. So JavaScript, like most programming languages, has a lot of different types of variables. We've seen var, let, and const. These declare how the variables actually work behind the scenes, but we are working with the variable itself, the piece of memory in your computer. There are different things we have learned about strings, which have quotations around them. They're basically sentences. So we could say const str is equal to a string. A string. We could also say const, and we can give some sort of number. Num is equal to, let's say 3. And this is a number. Notice there are no quotation marks around it. If there are no quotations around it, this is a number. This is a number. And this is a string. Next, we have a thing called a float, an FLT. That's a 3.14. And this is called a float. And a float is when you have a decimal in there, because it's like a floating decimal point. So this is going to assume 3.00, and that's going to round up to 3 as a whole number. A float is going to be 3 point something that's not 00, 3.14, for example. Then we have a Boolean, and this is either going to be true or false. True or false. And actually that's going to be or false. That's a better way to write it. So Boolean can only ever be true or false. Everything boils down to is something true, is something false in programming. Next, we have an array, which is basically a list. And we have an array of items in here. We can have an array with a string, number, float, Boolean, another list inside of it. But this is called an array. So we could say item 1, 2, 3, 3.14, and another list. And this one looks a little interesting because this one starts with a hard bracket on the left, ends with a hard bracket on the right. Every item is separated with a comma and ideally a space right after that. So comma, 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 chameleon. And then we're going to call this an array, which really just means a list. But programmers like their fancy words for some reason, so we're going to call it an array. Const thing is equal to null. That simply means that there is a piece of memory allocated to this called thing, this variable called thing, but there's actually nothing in it, not even a 0. There's nothing in it. Has nothing in it. Const not defined is equal to undefined. And this one simply means that it's not defined. It means there could be something in it eventually, but currently there is nothing in it. So currently holds no value. There's another one in here. We could do const some sort of function. So we could say get age is equal to function. Conjunction junction, what's your function? Returning 31. Aw, I'm 31 already? All right, well, I guess I'm 31 now. So this is a function, and we can add a code comment here. This is a function. And this allows us to use getAge over and over and over and over again. We'll talk about functions down the road with their own series of videos as well. Last but not least, there is another one in here called objects. And objects look like this. They've got an opening and closing curly brace, and then some sort of key value pair. And this one has like name, Caleb, profession, coding teacher. And so this has an opening curly brace. This has some sort of key, and then some sort of value, and then a comma. And in between that key value is a colon, a full colon, not a semicolon, but a full colon. And then we can add another one. So that's a key, and this one is a value. And then we can access this So this is called an object and can be accessed with obj name. So it looks something like that. So these are a lot of the different data types that you're going to see in JavaScript. There's actually a few more that we're not going to get into because they're a little too advanced for us at this point in time, but we're going to see a lot of these. So what I would like you to do is, if you haven't already, pause the video here and take a screenshot. This is a really good little list of different data types in JavaScript. In fact, let's do this. JavaScript data types. There we go. Go ahead, pause the video and take a screenshot of this. This is going to be very, very useful as a reference down the road. There's also a couple other data types like big int or symbols. And again, we're not going to get into those just because they're a little too advanced for us at the moment. We might get into them a little down the road, but we should work with these first. And really all we've worked with so far are strings. And just a reminder, I'm using const here, so none of these can be reused whatsoever. These have to be set and forgotten. In the next lesson, let's go ahead and talk about conditional statements. We've taken a look at conditional statements before, but let's go ahead and actually learn about them this time.